What's going on, guys? Filmmaker Dave here, and today we are starting our vlogs again. I haven't done one in about a year and a half now. I think the last one I tried doing, I was the last vlog I was doing, I was dressed up as the Flash. I had a Flash onesie costume or whatever, but I didn't like how the video came out, and then I just was like, you know, forget it, I'm never doing a vlog again. But I don't know, I moved into a new space. I have more room to do these vlogs. I have a setup for like photo shoots, and I had this little sweet backdrop with photographs of mine and then other local artists from Rhode Island. But today we are going to be talking about drone photography. So let's jump right in it. So my buddy Jason Allard reached out to me. He was like, hey Dave, I have some questions about your drone photography. Like, I would really love to see a video on like how the process goes. So I was like, all right, consider it done. Jason wants to know the process, long exposure drone photos, because that is like my main thing. I love long exposure photographs, and long exposure drone photographs are even better. So he wants to know, how do you frame them? And I try not to shoot face on as often just because it seems way too flat. There's like some really sweet spots on the Superman building, and those are definitely in the corners. As long as you can get up past like the tip of it and then kind of point your camera down, that's how I do it. It's a lot of like taking your controller and like inching it like little by little and trying to get that perfect frame. But I noticed that I like corner shots because you can see a lot of the depths and a lot of the lines. I did a new thing where I flew it up to the top of the Superman building, and the way I kind of pointed it down, it was like kind of sucks your attention straight down it. And then I also rotated the picture, and it kind of looks like a starship or some battleship or whatever from like Star Wars. So that's what I really like about it. But that's pretty much what I do for like framing. I try to find corners that kind of give the piece of architecture more depth, because I think that's more important than just having straight on shots. Not that they are all bad, I feel like you can get good ones, but you'd have to add other elements into the frame, such as like the backgrounds and like other buildings. And if you're shooting like a very tall building, you can show the smaller buildings in the background. And also, like, my new thing is trying to get as close as possible without flying my drone into the building or into the structures. I tried getting as close as I could, at least at the time. I probably could get closer now that I have been feeling more confident with flying in general. I think there's more to the story that you can capture if you can get as close as possible without harming the integrity of the building or even in the animal life that's around it. It does require a lot more time, so you're going to be using a little bit more battery, so you won't have as many shots as you might be dreaming about. As long as you're practicing and honing your skills and trying to perfect those drone shots and angles, you can change your shutter to like half a second or something. But the main thing is you don't want to go too long of a duration for long exposures on a drone, just because the drone still has movement, even though it is steady and it has like a 3-axis gimbal. You still have to be cautious of that. The cool thing with like the Mavic Pro, which is what I shoot, is that on the remote there's a mode for tripod. So like if you're in video or photo mode and you flip that on, it will do its best of keeping the drone as steady as possible. But you don't want to go too slow even then, even over a second and a half, definitely. Like, it's still, you're gonna get a lot of blur. That's another key thing. Like, you gotta flip up the weather app on your phone or TV, computer, whatever it is that you get your weather information, and you want to check to see what that weather's going to be like, how much gust is going to be out there is like a huge key for like long exposure photos at night. For night, I try to keep my iris open as much as possible. I think on the camera it's like a 2.3 or 2.5. Also for the ISO, I think once you hit past 800, the photo gets really grainy. And then when you go into Photoshop or Lightroom and you try to like denoise it and like get rid of that grain, like too much of that effect will kind of make your photo seem kind of cube shape and kind of, I don't know, it's like a weird texture, and it's not super cool. And like then you have to like add sharpness, but you gotta just be careful. Like, you don't want to go past 800 in my opinion. I could be wrong. Someone could be like, hey, Mr. Dave, that's wrong. And I'd be like, hey, that's fine. But I like to not shoot past 800. But the other thing is, in the city, if you have like a pretty good city where it's lit up, like in Providence, it's actually pretty bright and considered like other parts of like the city. In Providence, it's really good. Like, I tried doing the east side of the Crook Point Bridge, and I tried doing that at night, and it's like, yo, I can't see a thing. And then I was like, all right, I'll put my ISO at like 1600 or 3200, and it looks like absolute shit. I'm just like, well, that's not gonna work right now. So yeah, as far as like editing goes, like, you know, I drop it into Photoshop. I'll put the exposure up. I'll try to bring the highlights down a bit, and then I try to boost the shadows, especially just to get all those like dark areas. But then I'll throw some black in there just so those black areas don't look too gray and brownish. You just want like more of like a solid color. I think that's the main thing. And then going into like the coloring, like, I was all about having a warmer tone to the photos, but then I realized a cooler tone actually looks a little bit better in my opinion. But you gotta also take in consideration, like, city lights like kind of shoot off different color lights. Like over in Providence, there's a building down there that has different LED lights on it, so you'll get like a purple or like a blue, which kind of like lights up that little area. But I think that's pretty fascinating if you can catch that. Especially like if you have like blues out in the city, you can kind of turn that into like a purple to give it, I don't know, just something different, and it adds a little bit more pop to the photo, and that's what I really enjoy. And then I definitely try to go in and change the saturation. I like to boost my reds as well as like the yellows, and if there are blues, try to do that as well. On Photoshop, you can kind of change the perspective so you can kind of get like the building more upright and not so looking kind of like downward onto the ground. You can kind of like adjust the positioning so it kind of comes up. But yeah, that's really how I do these drone photos, and if you have any issues, you can always just message me. I can give you a little bit more details on how I get the exact framing, the settings, and the editing. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for checking out today's vlog. Again, thank you, Jason Allard, for being super interested in drone photography and trying to learn more about the long exposures I do with my drone. And I hope that this video helps out any new drone flyers out there, or any even experienced drone photographers out there. I feel like this is definitely can help you out. You can follow me on Instagram at FilmmakerDave. You can also go to filmmakerdave.com if you have any other questions. I have all my contact info on there, and I hope to see you in the next vlog.